moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Time to die.
All right.
Welcome, campers, alien tourists, green aliens, and oh, look, it's pretty much every military villain ever. To episode 314 of an Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on the 24th of July, 2019, and featuring Delta and the Bannermen. Written by Malcolm Cole and starring Sylvester McCoy as the Doctor and Bonnie Langford as Mel. I'm your host for this evening, Randy Ronson McCulloch, and with me on the panel tonight is our technical director, Mad Matt Winchell.
Everything seems to be ready, sir.
Tim the Enchanter Sheridan,
Don't step on my blue suede shoes.
and Thomas Fireheart.
I hate the parcel service.
Bill Sylvia, the man in black, has been called into work and thus cannot be with us this evening. Okay, so here in Madison, we've finally gotten some cooler weather after having the freaking hottest freaking day in the universe at the end of last week.
Pretty much. All of a sudden, it just kind of had a few rainstorms and it neutralized a little bit.
Yeah. But before that, our heat index was 114 degrees. If you know anything about Fahrenheit to Celsius, that's fucking hot.
I believe from Fahrenheit to Celsius, that's like a 40-something.
It's close to 40, if not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like 40 or over.
I mean, 40 on its own is pretty damn bad.
I believe 38 is something like around 95.
It is 45 and a half degrees Celsius.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this
like
was
that. At least in the state where I live, you would be sent home from school.
Yeah.
It would be too hot to keep you there.
Fun fact. Little news thing. The day that we hit that, the local downtown, the power centers that supported downtown actually caught fire.
Oh.
The entire downtown area was without power for the duration of that day. So that means everybody's air conditioner, everybody's fans, none of it was working. They kept it. They actually the governor declared a state of emergency. It was the worst possible day for that to happen. It was Murphy's Law. Fortunately, I don't live downtown. Our air conditioner worked fine.
Oh, you want to know something that's hilarious weather-wise? That nice big storm that came through and cooled everything down?
Mm-hmm.
That knocked over a huge amount of power lines up in the Appleton area. That's where my sister lives.
Mm.
Oh.
So they've been without power for like a couple of days in some places already at this point. Because trees fell over.
That's a regular danger here in the Midwest because, we get very powerful thunderstorms. We get tornadoes. So down power lines is par for the course. The power center actually caught fire. The one downtown exploded.
Oh.
It exploded, caught fire, and it sent a surge down the power line to the connecting power station that also then proceeded to catch fire.
And then sank into the swamp.
Well, yeah, we live on a swamp here, so that would not be surprising.
But the 5th power plant stayed up.
Unrelated news. It is the end of July, and I am so freaking sick of road construction. Oh God!
There's only two seasons in
I have to.
Wisconsin: winter and road construction. Don't you know?
Yes, I know, but they've decided to do this major overhaul of the surface of the Beltline.
Oh, the Beltline's a pain in the ass already.
Yeah. So I have to drive the Beltline to drop off Erin at work and pick her up at nights. The day's not so bad because they decided we'll do this during the non-peak hours of, the wee hours of the morning. Yeah. Oh God. It is so hard when, you go through, you see the sign, right 2 lanes closed. And then suddenly, like 5 feet after the right 2 lanes are finished closing, they decide to close the left 2 lanes. So you pretty much have to veer. It's like going through and there's barrels all over the place. So it's like going through a driver's ed course.
Actually, it sounds like it's like going through a track on freaking, what is it called? F-Zero.
And, here's the thing. My van drives like Hot Black Desiato's spaceship. Well, except it doesn't look like a fish. It kind of moves like a fish, but it definitely steers like a cow.
That explains a lot.
Actually, it kind of looks like a cow.
Questions.
Looks like a cow. Moves like a horse. Steers like a cow. So it's a cow out of 2 out of the 3 tests. But I'm just so sick of having to dodge barrels and stuff. I know one of these days, and the thing is, these construction workers work late night. They don't freaking care. They wander out into the traffic lane, just do. I'm like,
someone's gonna die.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought.
One of these days, one of these morons are gonna wander out and just boom.
Mm-hmm.
Neither side will know what hit them.
Meanwhile, out here on the minor road that takes me to the Beltline, there is been this minor repair job of the island in the middle of the road that has been going on since May. And like 75% of the time, there's nobody there. Like, what are you idiots up to? Are you trying to let the grass grow?
Would help the environment.
I swear to God, they were out there and all they were doing was just moving dirt around. I mean,
they're not helping grass grow. They're trying to prevent it. Maybe they should just put gravel out there.
It just frustrates me because if they had actually put their backs into it, it would have been done by now. And we'd have 3 lanes on Whitney Way instead of 2.
Oh, like how the people around Mayville, when they do construction, actually put their backs into it? We had that major stretch between where I live and like the fast food restaurants. That all got redone, like, that had to have been last summer. I think it was more like last fall that got redone. And if it wasn't for the fact that some morons thought it was funny to ride across it while it was in the middle of construction, it would have been done sooner, but they didn't waste too much time on it. It took maybe a month and a half, maybe 2. And that's a long stretch.
I mean, I understood when they weren't there for 4th of July week. It's freaking 4th of July week. But there's been other whole weeks where they haven't been there, and I'm just like, what the fuck, guys? Get this done.
Yeah, that sounds like poking around.
The road to Aaron's work, they decided to resurface it by putting down gravel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, the hell, guys? This road was fine before. Why are you graveling it?
Because they felt like something needed to be done, so they're doing it the cheapest way possible.
I hate road construction season. I mean, okay, to go from the west side to east side of Madison, there's 3 routes you can go. You can go down the Beltline, which is the south side, through the Isthmus, which is the center, or around Lake Mendota to the north, which is the north side. Of those routes, 2 of them are currently under construction. That's kind of pinching off your migration arteries here, guys.
Yar.
You do, especially since the middle and the south are the two major ones. Most people don't know about the route to the north. So, you'd normally do one, then the other, not both at the same time. Somebody wasn't thinking in the city council.
Well, now everyone who listens to our podcast knows about this mysterious route to the north.
Yes, but they don't
The
know
north.
exactly how to get there. But that's okay, because, more people on that, that's fine. Although it used to be nice, like, country driving. I've been noticing that apparently people have been selling off to developers in that area. I'm like, no.
Dum dum dum.
That's just gonna be part of the city pretty soon. There's gonna be freaking.
Yeah, the city is ever growing.
Yes, it is. It usually grows to the west. Apparently now it's growing to the north. Give it 50 years and somehow it'll merge with Portage. All
That'd be
right.
one hell of a super city. Anyway.
On tonight's show, we have news and birthdays. We have a little bit of geek talk. Then our episode summary, our review, our final thoughts, and our ratings. So, starting out with birthdays. Starting with the 18th of July is Paul Cornell, a former Virgin Books writer, now was a writer from 2005 to 2007. He turned 52. On the 20th of July is the birthday of Roy Skelton, who was a Dalek voice from 1967 to 1984. He would have been 88, but died in 2011 at 79. The 22nd of July is the birthday of Bonnie Langford. Ironically enough, played Mel from 1986 to 1987. She turned 55. Do you realize, we were talking about this before stream, she only has 6 serials to her name. And that's only if you include The Ultimate Foe, the final part of Trial of a Time Lord, as its own serial.
Yeah. She lasted one season altogether?
Basically, season and a half.
Hmm.
Season and a half, because she was through all of season 24, and then the second half of 23, the first half being Perry.
Mm-hmm.
She's also the only companion which we never actually saw how the Doctor met her.
At least not on screen.
Yeah, there was never a how Mel met the Doctor story. I'll have to see if Big Finish ever did one. That would
Big
have been
Finish
nice.
did. I'm aware that we covered that in our news a couple times.
Cool. Also on the 22nd of July is the birthday of Adrian Hill, who played Katarina for 1964 through basically 2 serials, although she was picked up late in the second and died early, or she picked up late in the first and died early in the second.
So more like she lasted 3 episodes.
She would have been 82, but died in 1997 at 60. So happy birthday, Paul, Bonnie, and a posthumous happy birthday to Roy and Adrian. All right, so we have some Series 12 news. Thomas?
Is Thomas still FK?
Thomas?
Oh, yeah, he's currently in the bathroom. Wow.
Oh, he's still muted. Wow, yeah, that was like 10 minutes.
That hurt.
Here, let me put up the link, and if he's not back, I'll start doing it for him. All right, I got the article up now. Some more Culture Box news. So, going over here, over the week, 2 of our Doctor Who actors were posted in the internet from 2 different locations. Tosin Cole posted a video showing him in South Africa. This may have been a previously filmed video he just posted now. However, meanwhile, and I'm getting the second link up here.
Yeah, you can wait on that one, because let's take a look at this. Apparently, he's mimicking the opening to the Lion King.
Oh.
On this video. So this might have been while they were in South Africa, because we know they were in there earlier in the year, and he just decided to do this because of the Lion King coming out on film. But because he's never showed it before, we don't know that for certain.
Yeah, it could have been earlier this year, which means it must have been filmed for this season.
Yeah, it looked like they were filming on January 21 through 25th down there. And actually 25th through February 7th. So he might have just held on to this for, half a year. And then when The Lion King came out, okay, I got to show this.
Yeah, it held on to it because he planned it in advance, maybe. Because I think that was announced way back already that movie was coming up.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's been listed for a while.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then the second bit of this particular article, also again from Callbox, is that meanwhile, Mandy Camp Gill, Mendit Gill, wow,
Yeah.
was seen in Cardiff doing some more location filming, most likely for the show as well.
Yep. Somebody basically caught her and got a picture while they were wrapping location filming, and filming in Cardiff's not that big of a news because
It
the
just
Doctor
means they're
Who,
back home.
well, not that back home is in the studio, but because it's not that far of a distance to do location filming in Cardiff. It's not that big of a production expense for them to do it,
Mm-hmm. It's an obvious place for them to do location shooting if they need a local area on the cheap.
Yeah. It's like, oh, gee, we are filming studios in Hollywood. Let's just go down to, Orange County and do some filming. It's a day trip. At best, it's a day trip. But also, apparently, other than Mandip Gill, Bradley Walsh was seen filming in there too. But Tosin Cole was not. But it was also his birthday, so he might have
had a day off.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right, so that's the only Series 12 news we've had. Next we have some award news.
Yay, awards! The Saturn Awards have posted their list of nominees, and Doctor Who has 3. First off, the series itself was nominated for Best Science Fiction Television Series, where it has stiff competition in the form of Counterpart, Krypton, Manifest, Roswell, New Mexico, The 100, The Orville, and Westworld.
Okay, that's a lot of stiff competition, especially The Orville and Westworld.
Yeah, those in particular. Those are ones I keep hearing about and people are highly pleased with.
Yeah, The Orville in particular has gotten some massive approval. Whereas Star Trek Discovery has gotten massive bleh.
It's gotten bleh, and it's gotten worse with each season apparently so far, even though they're still doing a season 3.
Yeah, The Orville, however, has gotten pretty much nothing but love. And it is, by the way, a labor of love by the creator Seth MacFarlane,
who is also a Trek fan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why there's a very Star Trek feel to The Orville.
Matter of fact, he originally wanted to be a comedy series for Star Trek, but they turned him down. So he's just like, fine, I'll go back to my buddies at Fox, and we're going to make a parody instead.
With blackjack and hookers, yeah. But
actually, forget the blackjack.
Yeah, so, by the way, on a related news, The Orville's third season will not be on Fox. It is moving to Hulu.
Oh, it's going strictly online.
Yes, and it's doing this because of Seth MacFarlane's schedule. Means he's unable to get it filmed on time for the normal Fox fall season release. So it's going to be out sometime in 2020.
So it's going to be out in an awkward time, which means they'll air it online first and then maybe find a spot to put on public television later.
Maybe. We'll see.
If it does well enough online, I'm sure they will.
Mm-hmm. And Westworld is, I think, isn't that HBO?
I think so. Yeah, something like that. HBO Stars or something like that.
It's gotten a lot of good news.
Oh yeah, that's been getting a lot of good positive vibes for a while now.
I've tried to watch it and I just can't get into it, but that's just me.
I haven't had the time to devote to it. I just keep hearing a lot of people really like it. That's all I know.
Mm-hmm.
And Krypton, I believe, is sci-fi or sci-fi.
Yeah, I think I heard about that, and it's actually looked interesting, which is weird for sci-fi. Maybe they're turning things around finally.
Well, they've been slowly trying to turn things around the last 2-3 years. I
they've
mean,
been
even
trying to slowly turn things around for almost 10 years at this point.
well, and they've had some good parts. I mean, frickin' Eureka was great, as was
I
its.
remember really liking it, but I can also remember never being able to figure out a schedule to watch it. So,
Oh man, it's on one of the streaming channels. You should just sit down and watch it. It's great.
so I think the
Unfortunately,
first 2 or 3 episodes.
it's a great series. I got addicted to it. I loved it.
Like I said, I didn't mind it. I quite liked it, but it's just I could never seem to find it when it was available for me to watch.
I think it's on Netflix. But yeah, they've had some hits. They've had some misses. But the guy that tried to turn it into the next Spike TV got fired, so they're
Good
trying to
riddance.
go. They're trying to go back to being a sci-fi series, and they've had some good stuff coming out in the last 5 years. But these other ones I've not heard that much news on. I know some of them exist, but I haven't heard anything about them. So those would make it easier wins. But Krypton, the Orville, and Westworld are going to be hard fights.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead with the next one.
Secondly, Jodie Whittaker has been nominated for Best Actress on a Television Series, and is up against Ariane Palicki from The Orville, Katrina Balfe from Outlander, Candice Patton from CW's The Flash, Amelia Clark from HBO's Game of Thrones, and Melissa Benoist from CW Supergirl, and Sandra Oh from Killing Eve.
Okay, so again, this is a hard fight. Because there's one word on there that's probably going to win regardless, and that's Game of Thrones.
Well, one phrase, yeah.
Mm.
That's gonna be a
Yeah.
hard one for Doctor Who to overthrow.
Well, the fact that this is Game of Thrones' final chance for awards means that it's now or never. So a lot of that's going to affect a lot of votes.
At the same time, though, this is also probably the most disliked season of Game of Thrones, if it's this last season.
Very true.
Yeah.
But then again, we also have the Orville. We also have the Flash.
I did hear a man in black. Hello, Bill.
Yes.
Oh,
Bill.
did you actually get to see the episode?
I've been watching it since I got home from work. So I got home. Luckily, we wrapped up on time and everything.
Oh,
I grabbed some food, headed straight home, and I just watched the episode right now.
Okay. All right.
so you're just done in time. Okay.
Okay. Well, then you're here. Awesome.
All right, Tim, last part.
I wasn't sure you'd have a chance to watch the episode before we were finished.
I
so.
wasn't sure if I would or not either.
All right. And the last award.
Finally, Tosin Cole was nominated for Best Younger Actor in a Television Series against Benjamin Wadsworth from Deadly Class, Cameron Cuff from Syfy's Krypton, Cole Sprouse from CW's Riverdale, David Mazouz from Fox's Gotham, KG Appa from CW's Riverdale, and Doctor Who alumni Maisie Williams from HBO's Game of Thrones. Good luck to Jodie and Tosin.
This is another hard fight because of two names on that list, one of which, of course, is Game of Thrones.
Which
the
is
other
still
of
an
which
iffy state, but it could still win.
The other one is Gotham.
Yeah, I was going to say, the other one's going to be
Gotham
Gotham.
just ended too.
And I would say Game of Thrones, most of the issues, I've seen a lot of people criticize the writing. I haven't seen any people say that the actors did a shit
I haven't
job
seen
this
directed at the
season.
actors,
I haven't
but
seen people say the visuals did a
the
shit job this season. Just the writers.
And the thing is, though, when you're at the last season of a show, so it's their last chance for awards, the award people tend to not just look at that season; they tend to look at the overall show.
And for the actors and actresses, I'm sure they might actually be pushed for that, since it's going to be their last overall for that particular show.
Yeah. I mean, like, of the two Game of Thrones things, I would say Maisie Williams is probably more likely than Amelia Clark.
Oh yeah, Maisie Williams has been amazing.
As long as Dan and Dave aren't up for, actually, I think they did submit themselves. I don't know if they got the nomination, but I think they submitted themselves.
David Mazouz, though, is going to be another hard fight because he just spent, 4 or 5 seasons playing Bruce Wayne on Gotham.
Ah, that's who that is. Okay.
Yes. I quickly had to look him up to make sure. I was pretty sure that's who it was, But yeah, I saw his picture. It's like, oh, yep, that's Bruce Wayne.
Didn't he also get into the costume at the end of Gotham?
I haven't watched the end of Gotham.
I think
I need
then
to
I might
watch
have been
that last
spoiled.
Yeah, I haven't watched the last season yet. I know there were hints, but I don't know how far they took it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I know, from what I've seen, they basically went, "Oh, fuck it, this isn't working. Let's switch to Batman."
Well, no,
Like,
that
Kid
the whole
Batman
the
or
whole
something.
no, Gotham was working well.
No, it was working well. The show was aiming
Mhm.
towards the generation up to
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gotham. Up to
Although, as a
Batman.
lot of people watching said, how much can you do before eventually you need Batman, or otherwise it just becomes an AU where Batman never existed.
Yeah.
All of his
Mm.
villains are already there.
Yeah. I mean,
Isn't
the funny
that
thing
sort of
was
like
is
the
when I
problem
heard.
that Smallville had?
Sorry,
that
what was that, Tim?
that was kind of the problem that Smallville had.
Mm.
Is that
Mm.
I cannot remember his name. The guy that played Clark Kent refused
Tom
to put on
Welling?
Tom Welling. Yes, thank you. Refused to put on the super suit.
So he didn't want to be Superboy.
Correct. So they did everything they could but put him in the suit. And I think they might have got him into it for the last episode, but only under clothes. So he did the famous pull open the shirt bit. But that was it.
That's all they can convince him on.
So yeah, that was kind of a major part because Smallville, when it originally was suggested, was supposed to be a 4-season show. It was
Didn't
supposed
it
to
go on
be
for like almost
it was-
8?
It went on for 10.
10.
Yeah. It was supposed to be Clark Kent's trip through high school.
Then I went to college.
And then they kind of went to Metropolis, and he started working for the Daily Planet. And it's like, you're basically doing the story of Superman now,
Right.
except you don't have Superman. And he
Fail.
started meeting the other superheroes like Green Arrow and
Aquaman.
and all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Apparently the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle.
he and they started doing that, and this is what Superman should be doing, not pre-Superman. So it just got to the point where you're just like, guys, come on. And eventually they just decided, okay, we've had 10 seasons.
It'd be like, imagine if Hal Jordan, Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, and Barry Allen got together and formed the Justice League, but none of them wore costumes.
That was actually the name of one of the episodes, was Justice League, I'm pretty
Oh god.
sure.
Like, I feel like at that point the show should have just be like,
It should
okay,
just finished.
Yeah, it's like we'll get a technicality where we're no longer in Smallville anyway, so we'll just end Smallville and start up a new
Rename it
thing called
Metropolis.
Metropolis.
Yeah. Or start up a new Superman show. The problem was, it lasted so long that the guy they had to play Lex Luthor didn't want to play Lex Luthor anymore. Yeah, it was bad.
Question about Smallville, because I still haven't watched it. Are you caught up with Supergirl yet?
I'm still behind. I need to catch
Okay.
up on the last season.
Then never mind, because the question requires you to be caught up. So never mind.
Okay. I've just got Netflix back a couple weeks ago, and I've been busy trying to get my life back on a schedule of not
I don't
spending.
think the new CW seasons are on Netflix yet, or at least they weren't a month ago.
I think they're there now.
Then I'm okay. Then I'll look, because I still need to catch up on 3 of the 5.
I'll double check in a little while, but yeah, I haven't. I'm not certain. Anyway, yeah. So that's our news, by the way. That's all the news we have. There was there was some Big Finish news about Tom Baker having signed on for 2 more seasons of this thing. But
I remember hearing that those were like 3 years from now or longer.
Yeah, that was it. It's too far in the future.
Unless Tom ages backwards, then.
Yeah. Because mind you, Tom has signed we've had actors sign on to do stuff before and then die on us. Elizabeth Sladen. And God God knows I do not want Tom Baker to die. That'll
Mhm.
be the grimmest day in Doctor Who history. I mean, we'll all be crying on stream at that point. We know it.
Oh yeah, there's not gonna be a dry eye when Tom
Mhm.
finally goes. Mhm.
So that's our news section. Moving on to our geek talk, because I don't think there's a review of Shame today. Thomas, you said you had something.
Yes, he apparently has an anime. I'm double checking something here really quick, by the way.
And
But go
and
ahead.
it's funny because the only reason I even have this to talk about is because I ordered a multi-region DVD player this week, and it didn't show up until the day after it was supposed to, because I ordered express fucking delivery. And so I was like, okay, I don't want these bastards to be able to just drive past, put a thing in the mailbox for me to go and collect it, and then bugger off. So I sat in the lounge room the whole time, and just sitting there doing nothing was going to be kind of boring. So I decided to watch episodes of the anime, or the first season anyway, of the anime K-On! And ended up watching pretty much the whole thing on the first day, waiting for them to show up, and they never did. And then just watched like the few episodes I had left the next day.
I'm gonna have some bad news for you, but do go ahead with your review first.
But yeah, with basically the premise of K-On! Is that it's like a slice of life anime following a bunch of high school girls who make up the Light Music Club, and it's just like them getting to know each other, because out of all of the characters in it, only like, at least this specific club anyway, like only two of them actually knew each other previously. So it's partially about them getting like growing as a band, but it's more so about them like getting to know each other and like growing as friends more. Which is funny because of all the high school anime that I have watched that has a primary female cast, this is probably one of the few ones where there's been like this kind of thing where it's a band specifically. I mean, I've watched like an episode of Love Live, which is about like them forming a school idol group. But usually, there's this disconnect where it's like, if it's girls, they're just kind of going through high school. If it's guys, it's like a sports thing or something like that. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this anime, so long as you're into slice of life anime, I would say definitely check this out. One of the jokes in like one of the first couple of episodes is probably like the hardest laugh I've got out of an anime in a while. Like, it just kind of came out of nowhere. I don't even think it was necessarily like that the joke was necessarily that funny, but just like the context of it or something was just hilarious. The other weird thing about this is that normally anime like this would be like season 1 is like a year of high school. This technically covers 2, or at least the better part of 2, because season 2 picks up with the older characters being in their final year of high school, but season 1 starts with them as freshmen, I guess, and then they're in their second year of high school by the end of the season, which is like, at least for me, that was kind of weird, because I'm just so used to unless it's like there's only one season and it's just like a long anime or something like that, or it's just like cutting through a lot of it anyway. Like I think Azumanga Daioh is just like their entire high school life, but the anime is like 24 episodes or something.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, like I would definitely recommend this one. And I actually rewatched the first episode because I'd only seen the first episode prior, for a write-up I did years ago, and then was just like, you know what? This animation studio had an unfortunate thing happen recently where some asshole
Yep.
set a fire in their production building, and there was actually some deaths as a result.
I can give
I
you
think,
more of the facts if you want them.
yeah.
Currently, there are over 30 deaths. There are 30 people still in the hospital. 9 of them are in still severe condition. There was stories of people literally on fire running out of the building. And this psychopath literally splashing gasoline on people and flicking matches at them, screaming at the top of his lungs that they stole his ideas.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Damn.
that's a total. The guy went completely postal,
Mm-hmm.
and it's weird because we don't see that much outside of the United States. But
Yeah,
this guy,
and this guy
this guy-
roasted like entire side of the building. There's like
this
one
guy
side of the
went
building that's
completely
black.
mental.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that was part of why I ended up watching this, I will say, because the streaming service I watched this on, since this happened, has been showcasing, like, you go down a tiny bit and one of the highest things on it will be like animation this studio has done, and it's just like
So they're
all
just
the
constantly pushing
yeah.
Kyoto Animation right now. Okay.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at that building. It got pretty roasted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like this is the people who did The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, Lucky Star.
Mm-hmm.
Most recently, I think, was A Silent Voice, stuff like that. So it's like shit. But this is one of those things where I really fucking hope that there aren't douchey weeby pricks who are like, oh no, what about the anime? It's like, fuck the anime.
Right.
I care more about the people.
Well,
Like,
I believe
I
they
will-
already hit money in
will-
the millions with only 2 days of donating money to help out the victims.
They've gotten over 2 million US
Mm.
to help the studios and its employees recover. Yeah, this was the thing is this should not have happened because the door that this guy came in is normally locked. And for whatever reason it wasn't, and this guy just waltzed in there and just started throwing gasoline around.
Yeah, basically just went ape shit and started lighting people on fire as well as the building itself.
Yeah, and that is why, like, normally I wouldn't care because I would be a hypocrite to say, given how I used to watch a lot of anime, I would be a hypocrite normally to tell people, oh, I don't care how you watch this, just watch this. I would prefer you watch this officially and not watch it illegally or something. In this specific case, considering the situation this company is in, support the official release if you can. Please, that would be very nice. Again, even if you just find like a legal streaming service that you can maybe, if it's acting like Crunchyroll, where you could technically watch free, but you just have to deal with ads or something, which Crunchyroll doesn't have it, unfortunately. But there should be like some that have it. But yeah, like
So normally the entrance required pass cards, but they unlocked it as they were expecting visitors from NHK television.
Oh shit.
So it was unlocked for VIP special
So
guests.
the guy literally showed up on the one possible day he could get through that door.
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah. Makes you wonder if he actually knew or if he just lucked out.
Yeah, I don't know, but
If he
yeah.
was stalking them because he believed that for sure that they stole his ideas, maybe he was stalking them for an opening.
It's quite possible. He's a nut bar.
Yeah, he's apparently gone Looney Tunes, and he's going to be put away for a long while.
I mean, I can tell you that two people on completely different sides of the planet can have the same idea at the same time. Case in point, Bob, my friend Bob, once ran me on a Star Trek RPG adventure, which 2 weeks later we discovered was remarkably like the plot of Star Trek Insurrection. I'm serious. We did this, and it's like the next week or the week after, I go to see it, and Bob's going to see it at the show after me. So I'm walking out to my car as he's walking into the building. He's like, "So how was it?" I'm like, "You're gonna hate it. You are gonna hate it so much." And I go to the car and I sit down, and it's like 2 hours later, I get a message from Bob going, "Oh God damn it!"
Yeah, so a guy just takes happenstance and goes completely nutball.
Yeah, it
And
was
that's the
just a
best
massive
interpretation of that. That's like if the guy wasn't already nutball to begin with.
Yeah, apparently, I mean, he had to have some screws loose already, and it just flipped. He had to have some mental issues. How the hell did he get 40 liters of gasoline into that building?
I assume he had a gas can.
Yeah, but 40 liters? That's a little more than a... Yeah. It's more like a gas drum.
That sounds like Jack a Tanker.
Never underestimate the power of crazy.
Apparently. Anyway, so that's an approval for watching Kaon. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I keep hearing that Kyoto has done a lot of really cute and or funny slice of lives and comedies and so forth.
Yeah.
I guess one last thing I will add that was interesting that I just remembered was not only I watched the dub except for the 13th episode because that wasn't on the streaming service that I am using. And the dub has a lot of it was kind of coincidental until I kept going down the rabbit hole and realizing a lot of the main voice actresses are involved with Sailor Moon right now.
That's not unusual.
That's not unusual, yeah.
And what was even the most like holy shit realization was the current one of the main characters. So in that image I put in general, like the character up front on guitar is voiced by the current voice of Usagi / Sailor Moon in the new dub stuff by Viz Media. One of the other characters on the show is voiced by the character by the woman who did Serena, aka the Sailor Moon in the 4Kids dub in the 90s, which was like, holy shit.
2 generations of Moon Scouts. Hi.
But
like one of the other characters.
In final thoughts, watch Full Metal Panic Fufumu. Also by Kyoto Animation.
Oh, really? I didn't know they did Full Metal Panic.
That was one of their first big hits. Along with Lucky Star and stuff.
I never liked Lucky Star. Bob was into Lucky Star.
Bob was into Lucky Star. That's how I know about it.
I'll admit I like the opening song to Lucky Star, and I occasionally listen to it. But yeah, no. All right. Are we done with Geek Talk?
I think so.
Unless anyone else has something.
No, nothing yet.
I'm still waiting for that road trip to Spider-Man. We've had a couple delays.
Spider-Man.
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 We're all gonna watch Spider-Man and eat biscuits.
He's a menace.
Spider-Man.
Must be stopped.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can.
All right. So that will take us up to our episode summary, and I believe it's Matt's turn.
It is my turn. It is my turn. All right.
I've
Let
got
me
the stopwatch up.
Yes, get the stopwatch. Copy.
Better you than me, Matt.
Bullshit happens. The end.
That would be the fastest review.
All right. I got it up. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. Give me a countdown.
Start in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So we start off with Delta and the Bannermen with a bunch of army toys. I mean aliens shooting at guys with banners.
I'm glad you noticed that too.
They all start dying, but their apparent female leader, who doesn't look like an army man, gets aboard a ship and kills the onboard guard and manages to get away with some sort of package. She happens to happen upon, I believe, a big teleportation area where the TARDIS has just recently landed, and the Doctor and Mel are getting kind of semi-pushed into a free vacation. The Doctor decides to follow in the TARDIS just to make sure that everything goes all right. The strange woman is allowed onto the bus, and they all go for their free vacation. This is when the Bannermen happen upon the place just too late to stop the teleportation of the space shuttle, which also looks like a bus. And they head towards Earth, originally planning to go to Disney in the 1950s, but crash landing somewhere in Wales as they accidentally hit a satellite. The teleportation system can't do anything about what happened with the crash landing, and they have to wait for information back before they can do anything about what happened. And the Bannermen just kill everybody on sight, as far as we're aware, and continue to wait to hear any news while they send out information for scouts to try and find. I believe they called her the Silver Queen. I forget what the nickname for her was, but they're looking for Delta. Delta continues to try her best to try and pseudo blend in, although she is obviously very jumpy, and Mel points that out to her a couple of times. But they do blend in with the place. They end up having to camp at a, I guess it's a traveler's facility. It's essentially like a giant
vacation camp, I think they called
vacation
it.
camp. Yeah,
Probably a British thing.
I'm assuming as such, or it's sort of like a motel system for constant travelers, I assume. Anyway, they decided to stay there for a while, and they are actually coincidentally having a 1950s theme thing going on there too. So they stay for that to have some music and to party it up like they were planning to at Disney, anyways. Even though they still plan to make it to Disney. And while they're there, the Doctor happens upon a guy who is sniffing around for the Bannermen and sends a signal. The Bannermen kill him, and they do so just in time to actually protect the Doctor, although they render him and the human that found out about all this with him unconscious. They wake up the next morning, but it's too late to stop Delta as she's left with an Earth boy, which she has apparently taken a very quick shining to. And has shown him the package, which actually turns out to be a newborn of her particular species. And it turns out to be a girl, and it's starting to very quickly grow into a full adult size as time goes on. They basically have a big runaround. Mel and the guy who runs the campsite are captured at one point. The Doctor is forced to try and come and get them. They are attacked later on the road with a tracking device, which would hopefully bring them to the Delta, but the Doctor is too smart and notices the big tracking device sticking out of the bike, uses it on a goat to temporarily slow them down, and also uses a few more lures and traps to slow down the Bannermen as they make a grand final plan for staying up against them. The ending result is that they set up a speaker system back at the camp to sonically attack the Bannermen as they get in close. Apparently, the Delta species,
The
when they're
Shimmerons.
the Shimmerons. The Shimmerons apparently have a built-in protection system when they're younger that they can emit a high-frequency squeal that can protect them from the Bannermen, and does so with a speaker system hooked up in front of her so she can render most of the Bannermen unconscious, and in particular with their gun-ho murderous leader, makes him get woozy enough that he falls into his own trap that he set up around the TARDIS, apparently noticing that it was alien technology. And with the Bannermen now captured, the one guy taking some of the Chevron stuff to become a Chevron himself, and going with Delta to hopefully save her rest of her people and restart their race. The Doctor and the others are left to leave. Oh, and there's also this side plot with these guys from America apparently looking for a satellite, and they find their satellite. The end.
All right, so you did that in a little over 5 minutes, about 5 minutes and 10 seconds.
Something like that, yeah.
All right.
Considering all the loose ends in this plot. I'm surprised I managed to make it even on that time.
All right, so what did we like about this episode? And we'll start with Thomas.
I'd say Mel, which seems kind of odd to say because it's just like, I mean, of all the examples of showing that she's kind of the milk toast companion, this is kind of one of those where, like, if this was Ace in this, when they start singing on the bus, Ace would have just been like, "Oh God," whereas Mel actually joins in.
Ace would have been going, "Why can't I go on the TARDIS with you?"
Basically.
Well, the thing is, this wouldn't have worked as an Ace adventure because Ace would have never, because it was Mel that talked the Doctor into going on this trip.
Mm-hmm.
Ace would have just been like, pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I've only got such like a limited range of what I've seen that actually has Mel in it. So far, like, I've yet to get the like full scope of like her as the annoying screamy companion. I mean, she screams in it, but you know.
She screams once in this.
Yeah, she gives one good
Yeah.
wail on this one, and that was because she was being held at gunpoint at that point.
I thought it was because a baby was being born.
Actually, no, two of them then.
Yeah, you want her screaming.
After she promises that she is the face of
the worst
discretion.
offender. There's quite a few screams in Paradise Towers as well.
Mm-hmm.
But there's
Yeah,
a good reason
her
for
first
that.
couple with Sylvester McCoy are really screamy.
Fortunately, the plot of Paradise Tower, in my opinion, makes up for that. Time in the Ronnie,
Not so much.
However, we'll get to Paradise Tower eventually, and we'll review it at some point here. It's not on our schedule at the moment, but you know, it's in our list of episodes we've not reviewed.
Mhm.
Which, by the way, keeps getting smaller and smaller, so cool.
Smaller and smaller because Big Finish isn't on that list. Otherwise, it would get bigger every week.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a time, because, you know, when we started this back in 2012, we thought, yeah, we'll probably not even get through all the Doctor Who episodes. Now we're looking at that like it's a distinct possibility.
Yep.
Looking at it like it's a possibility, and like we might be moving on to other things.
We might be turning into a Big Finish podcast because that's all that's left.
Outside of the new
Unfortunately,
seasons
there's
as
still
they
a bunch
come.
of spin-offs, yeah.
Or eventually alternate. Big Finish, Virgin, Target. Big Finish, Virgin, Target.
I don't know. I don't know if I could review the novelizations. Anyway. All right. Tim, what did you like about this?
Oh, what I liked about this episode serial was the 1950s rock and roll vibe of the clothing in the era and the music in general, and like just like the hip rock and roll attitude of the characters.
You know, I would like to watch this and watch The Idiot's Lantern back to back and just see who captured the 50s vibe better.
Hmm.
I can already probably tell you.
Because, you know, I think Idiot's Lantern was 54, I think. It was when
Is that when the
Queen El-
coronation was?
yeah, the coronation of Queen
Mhm.
Elizabeth, which was 54, 55. It's not something I keep, you know, in my front brain. Like, yeah, I
53
remember
apparently.
53. Okay, I was close. So that takes place in 53. This takes place in 59. And you know, Idiot's Lantern takes place in London, while this takes place in well, technically it takes place in Wales, masking as London. And this takes place in somewhere masking as Wales, or it might just take place in Wales. I don't know where this one was filmed.
Yeah, I haven't looked up location shoots.
Yeah, I'm doing that now, but I don't know if I'll get anything.
Apparently,
Yeah.
it was shot. Was shot
It was-
in Wales.
Really? I see it being shot in South
At least
Glamorgan.
something related to Wales, anyway. It's like Butlin's Barry Island in Wales.
Mm.
At least the holiday camp, yeah.
The holiday camp was Nels Point, Barry Island, South Glamorgan. Yeah, so this one's actually shot in Wales.
As you do
There's a
in Doctor Who.
precursor of things to come.
Yeah, South Wales. Yep. Pretty much right where they showed on the map when they showed the tracer. Yeah, right in that area. Perfect.
We didn't even have to change the geography.
So yeah, it's right in South Wales. So Idiot's Lantern, Wales posing as London. This one, Wales posing as Wales. All right, Bill. How about you? What did you like about
Okay.
this serial?
So, if I remember right from the last time we reviewed something around this era of the show, a lot of these episodes were sort of soft auditions where they would write a character that they think could be a companion, and then eventually one of them just stuck, and they decided that Sophie Aldred would stay as a companion. And this episode definitely gives that impression because once you get past the initial drama with the oh my god, the boy that I like doesn't like me, once you get past that and the scene that leads to, uh, what was her name? Ray?
Ray,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. She becomes a very good pseudo companion character. She's active. She doesn't overly dwell on things to the point where a lot of characters in this situation would become a mess for most of the serial, especially for such a short serial. She doesn't. She's focused on solving problems, getting things done, but she's still unique and funny at the same time.
Yeah.
It would
Like-
have been interesting to see had she become the companion instead of Ace, even though
I
I
don't
love
know.
Ace, of course.
Yeah.
But it would have been interesting to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, from what I can tell, it was literally they preferred Sophie Aldred and wrote. I think actually Ace was written for her, because she actually auditioned for this part, and they liked her so much that they ended up writing Ace for her.
So maybe
Seemingly.
this script was written to introduce a new companion, and they were like,
Mm.
"Well, we like the girl that auditioned, but we don't think she fits this character."
As far as I know,
Welsh.
Yeah.
It could
As
just-
far as I know, like both this and Dragonfire were written with the idea of like, well, one of these is going to be the companion, and the broadcast order was kind of determined by who they went with.
Mhm.
So like Dragonfire might possibly have been rewritten, or like
Gotcha.
had two endings written depending on which way they went.
So did this one, I bet.
Mm.
Maybe.
Come to think of it, does she say what she's doing at the end, or does she just kind of fuck off?
Yeah, she just kind of leaves.
She
Just
just
kinda
kind of
leaves
gets.
them-
She just kind of gets on the motorcycle and goes away.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
she's now gets to
and
take care of the really cool
apparently-
motorcycle herself.
Yeah. And the kind of sad thing for me is that she's apparently never shown up in anything ever again. Like, she gets
Oh.
like mentioned in an audio, but as far as I know, Big Finish has never actually done anything with her.
Okay, so this is what happened. Ray was written as a new companion. Bonnie Langford had announced she was going to be leaving the series at the end of the season. However, as the schedule neared production, Bonnie Langford started waffling.
Mm.
She didn't. She knew she was going to leave, but she didn't know if she was going to leave this season or during the next season. Plus, this got rescheduled to earlier in the production season, and basically, Andrew Cartmell's basically said, "Okay, we'll just create another replacement companion if we needed to," and they abandoned Ray as possible.
Mm.
And then, of course, they wrote later on. They wrote Dragonfire, and that became
Mhm.
Ace. And
Mm.
Bonnie's like, "Okay, this is a good getting off."
Mm.
So there's your backstory, people.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Bill. Matt, how
Yep.
about you? What did you like about this serial?
What I like about the serial, I particularly liked the attitude of the Doctor in this one. He's very cautious about getting onto that bus, so he hangs back and he follows it in the TARDIS. He's the only one with an idea of how to fix the bus ship, as everyone else would otherwise be stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one that's at least gutsy enough to face Sammy head on with a white flag, and even though they shoot down his white flag, they still don't have enough gusto to actually at least outwardly attack him right away. Allow him to get away. He's got a lot of those.
The thing is, I could see that happening more in like the modern era.
Mm-hmm. The fact that Sylvester McCoy
imagine
was doing
David
it this
Tennant
early.
doing that with the "I'm the doctor" kind of statement,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and then getting to go away with these guys. I was kind of wondering how he managed to pull that off in this.
If it were later on, he would have invoked the name of Shadow Proclamation.
That too. Because that's a meme that keeps popping up. Showing I'm a badass. I know the Shadow Proclamation. Yeah, bye.
Because I'm pretty sure he's just bluffing here.
The fact that it's just like
But yeah, there's a lot that shows a lot of Sylvester McCoy getting comfortable in the role and is starting to own it a bit, and especially the setups that he makes to slow down the Bannermen towards the last act.
Mm.
Foils within foils, and then splash you with honey.
all right. So what I liked about this episode serial is some of the humor, especially with the alien tourists. I thought a lot of them, especially like Marie the driver, was pretty funny. I enjoyed some of that. So I thought that was at least good. Okay, so let's talk about what we dislike. Thomas.
Fairly low hanging fruit, but I'm going to go for it anyway. But the entire subplot with the Americans.
Yes.
Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble.
Their humor I didn't like. It was,
The kind of annoying thing is I could find that at least one of these guys, the older looking one, was actually an American actor, but I can't for the life of me find out whether the other actor with the mustache was actually American or not, or
What
if it
was
was
their
just another.
names?
I just called them Fred and
ugh.
Barney, to be honest.
Let's see.
I would almost prefer the lesser versions of Abbott and Costello, but
Okay, so one of them was Weissmuller,
okay.
and that was played by Stubby K, who was an American comedian. Um,
Oh, so it's a celebrity cameo.
he was, yeah. Well, I mean, he was in like Guys and Dolls, and
he
he,
was like the patty cake guy from
it's the
what's
same
it
guy
called?
that
Like
played
the studio
Marvin
head
Acme in Who Framed
Yeah.
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mind you, he was, actually, no, he was about the same age at that point.
Here they are.
The other guy must have been Hawk.
Hawk, yeah, Morgan Deere, or however you pronounce that.
All right, let's see if I can find him on.
Yeah, like I could find his birthday, his exact birthday, but no country of origin.
I couldn't find country of origin when I was trying to find out if Billy was Welsh. Because I don't think he was.
Well,
I think I found that actor, but I could be wrong.
let's see. Is this the same guy? Yes, it is. He was born in the USA, New Iberia, Louisiana.
It sounded like they both had legit.
Yeah, they both sounded legit American for the most part.
They sounded American to me.
So yes, they were both Americans.
Which is kind of funny because I'm so used to Doctor Who just getting people who aren't.
Okay.
Like getting people from England to do.
So the other guy
accents
played Marvin Acme, right? He was the voice of the gorilla bouncer. Nice monkey suit. Wise ass. That guy.
So these guys have done actual notable things over here in America, and they just happen to do this weird little cameo in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And apparently the guy who played Hawk was in Rosa.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. What now?
You found it the same time I did. Yeah. He was in Arthur in Rosa.
Yeah.
They really didn't make a big statement about the fact that was an alumni returning. Normally they hype that up.
But then again, it is Delta and the Bannermen.
Yeah. I mean, this guy hasn't done a lot of things that I'm familiar with. I'm looking at his, his listing on IMDb, and he's not. I mean, he was on the bill.
Apparently, he was in Mission Impossible.
So we've kind of sidetracked into their careers, but was there? I don't think you got the chance to say what you didn't like about them.
Just the fact that the subplot basically just goes nowhere, and you could.
Oh, okay.
You can pretty much remove the entire thing and these characters, and you.
Yeah, you could remove these characters and save time and does something more productive with it.
It's entirely comic relief. Yeah, I see your point there.
Yeah.
Not even good comic relief.
And I guess in a way, in a funny comparison, it's like, oh my god, off the top, I think it's The Man with the Golden Gun, the Bond movie, where they bring back that friggin' like Louisiana or whatever the fuck, wherever the fuck in the South he's from, cop, and they just go like, yeah, let's throw him into this environment for no reason because people liked him in Live or Let Die.
I wonder if somebody was looking at the script. They're like, yeah, there's a lot of genocide and stuff going on in this script. Let's throw in some American, some goofy
Some
Americans.
bumbling Americans. Yeah.
Hmm.
Which I think he's supposed to be a CIA agent, but he's also just like a guy on a road trip.
Okay.
Hmm.
Something else that's on my mind. As a side note, kind of on the same thing about this plot line.
Mm-hmm.
This was supposed to be an American satellite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did they
Why
say it
did
was
it-
American or that the Americans were watching it?
They wanted these guys to watch it because it was sent up by NASA.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay.
It was their satellite. Why
It
did it
was
look
their
like
orders
Sputnik?
from NASA. Oh, that's a good question. Not you mention that. Why does it look like
Mhm.
Sputnik?
That's the thing. I thought maybe they were keeping an eye on, like, and I remember them mentioning it being launched up, but I was like, if they're keeping an eye on it, wouldn't that mean it was somebody else's?
Bill, you apparently weren't paying attention then because literally we see the shuttle part that drops it off, and it says United States on the side of that shuttle.
Oh, because last I saw that they just had a conversation where someone told them about it.
No, you weren't paying attention, sir.
Because they never saw this, they didn't see it until afterward, until the very end of the serial.
Yes, but as they're being told about it, we actually see the rocket taking it up into space, and it says on the side of the rocket that opens up to drop it off, United States.
Hmm.
Like, not even just USA, literally the entirety of United States written on the side of it.
That's the way those old rockets were.
Mm-hmm. I assume such, but yeah.
But
It's-
no, I mean, that thing looked just like Sputnik.
Yeah, that's really weird
Yeah.
that it looked like Sputnik.
It really did.
It makes me wonder if it was originally
So-
supposed to be Sputnik, and then somebody went, no, bad idea.
So why were they having intelligence agents keep an eye on their own satellite?
In Wales.
Because they apparently wanted to have it on that side of the planet for a reason. These guys were the closest to watch it, I
They were afraid that their allies would get to it first.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's not really
It's really
a
not very
subplot
clear.
that
They
makes
just
sense,
said
yeah.
they were supposed to be monitoring
Yeah.
it, supposedly.
Yeah,
And it was
like
supposed to be a
it's
big
gone
thing for them
missing
to
and
be
they're supposed to be
monitoring
finding
it.
it.
Although
Yeah.
while we're on the topic of that subplot, so if I were to open up a police box and I'm assuming that's a direct line to the nearest police constable or headquarters. What's the word?
Pick your words.
It's called a different thing in every region anyway. Police station, whatever. You can just say, "Yeah, patch me through to the White House from another country." With
Well,
no
I think this. First of all, Bill, this police call box was out in the middle of nowhere, so I'm pretty sure it was actually supposed to be some sort of secret thing.
And you got to remember, this was before such thing as direct lines. So you picked that up and you got an operator.
Mm-hmm. So you probably got an operator in the United States as long as it's the right wiring to get there.
Got you. So it wasn't like you picked it up and you got the person at the desk in the police station.
Yeah.
You actually got.
Yeah.
So it's just like any other phone on.
Yeah, because remember,
phone
these were the days that you had to dial something, or you had to turn the thing to raise the operator, and you had to tell the operator, "Get me Lancaster 341."
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I just with them being police call boxes, I thought that they actually were only able to call the police.
Nope.
No, you can wire them up to be regular phones.
Okay, so that makes more sense than I thought. Even that still doesn't sound. I don't think the average operator could patch you through to the White House either.
Depends on who it
well,
was,
I mean,
but yeah.
to be like in the reverse way, there's also a few times where the phone rings and they have to pick it up. So
yeah,
that is a little harder in those days.
Unless, of course, the people who were that they got in contact with knew the exact number to contact them back.
Except there wasn't a number. Remember, everything goes through the operators. And those things, as far as I'm aware, didn't have a registered number.
So this is pre-rotary?
I think so.
Oh.
I think it's pre-rotary.
That shows my lack of knowledge of history of technology, apparently.
Anyway.
When did the rotary dial go? It started in the 1950s, but Also, I'm not sure how all it worked in Britain, so this is all based on what I know of the American phone company, because they didn't go to rotary phones really until the 60s.
I can't say for sure, but I think we just got a random spammer in the chat. Anyway.
But yeah, so I'm not sure how the White House would have been able to call that box, because those are the equivalent of unlisted numbers, you know? It's not like you have caller ID.
Right.
I don't know. It's a very kind of the whole subplot is just like it looks like it was rapidly pieced together.
Yeah, I don't think it's intended to make sense. It's intended
And wasn't
to
that well vetted.
American intelligence agents are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, they've started talking again. Hi Fox Pixar. I'm not clicking on the link just because it's nothing to do with what's going on right now, dude. It's something about Yogi Bear. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, Tim.
Anyways, we're already on an aside.
Yeah.
Yep. Tim, what did you dislike about the series?
Some of the plot line and the storyline, just the characters were ill presented. Is like, I often was asking myself, okay, who are these people? What are they doing here? Why are they here? Where do they come from? What is their motivation? And the like, particularly the two American spies, and just the Bannermen themselves, is like, so are they warlords? Are they like conquerors? Or are they renegades? Is like, what is going on here, people?
Apparently, by their actions, they're Space Voldemort and Death Eaters.
What house are they the Bannermen of?
I don't know. I think they were called the Bannermen because they had all those flags on the back, like they were frickin' Japanese samurai. I was like, what the hell? Is this an Akira Kurosawa flick? What the fuck? But no, I mean, if you look at his actions, he is such the, oh yeah, we have someone here and we've set a ward, so we're just going to kill him, because we're assholes. It's like,
yeah, it's like we're not even evil, we're just assholes.
oh no, they're evil. They're evil assholes.
They're a special breed of asshole.
Yeah, like the Master and the Daleks and the Cybermen would all go, hey, we may be evil, but at least we're not assholes.
Yeah. They're the Spaceballs.
Only less likable. At least the Spaceballs were amusing.
They're Dark Helmet and the Spaceballs. Only less funny.
The
Spaceballs.
Oh shit. That goes the planet.
Goes the planet, yeah. But yeah, there's not a lot of motivation other than we're evil, we've killed their race, and now we want to make sure they're all dead so they don't complain to the Space UN.
Evil for the lulz.
Not even evil for the lulz, evil for evil. There's not really any serious motivation other than, hey, look, we're conquerors, fuck you.
Yeah, like, there isn't even like a throwaway line of like, oh, they were mercenaries who got paid to wipe us out, or like, we've been at war with them.
They're basically just a race of dicks.
Yeah. Like, especially, like, just the cherry on top is, oh yeah, here's the guy that's going to help us out, and he has technology that would really make this more convenient for us, but we're going to kill him because why the fuck not?
Because why do we want to pay him?
Yeah.
Which then
and
kill him
the thing is,
after you use the homing beacon.
Yeah, you kill them after you obtain your goal, not before.
But that means we have to use bullets. That's money
I'm sorry,
again.
This is like Supervillain 101.
I mean, that also means that you have to figure out a resolution to the episode 1 cliffhanger. but
Yeah, I know, but it's your evil overlord list. You kill the mercenary cronies after you've achieved your goal, not before.
imagine if the Dark Knight had just started off with the Joker gunning down mercs outside of the bank, and then trying to walk into the bank by himself.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of what it's like. It's not well thought.
Also,
All
something
right.
else I noticed about the Bannermen helmets is that they're recycled from like the Fifth Doctor era.
Speaking of the Bannermen, those freaking visors.
Yeah, those ridiculous glasses. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting
Very
here.
80s.
I'm sitting here looking at this like, oh my god, it's the cast of V. I did. I started mistying this episode a few times. It was. I might have been
I
self-preservation.
half expected one of them to be called Snyder and Snyder to become a puddle of goo. That's an
It was-
Earthshock reference, folks. Earthshock. Because again,
was
it's the
just-
same. It's the same helmets. I just repainted them slightly, if they even did that.
Oh, that's not unusual for Doctor Who. They'll take something and redress.
Actually,
it.
I think they kept them the same color, but I think they added little bits on the sides of the helmets.
Mm-hmm. It's what they call redressing. So that didn't bother me that much.
Yeah,
That's just using a resource.
Yeah, that's just making the use of what they have on hand.
That's called the BBC trying to look like they have some kind of budget.
But the freaking visors were just like, oh my god. Is this supposed to be V the series? Come on.
At the same time, if they were actually sunglasses, they probably could have used them because they were out in the field so long.
Yeah. If they'd had field glasses or some just kind of like a snap down visor instead of the freaking visor glasses, the freaking bebop glasses.
Instead of the bebop glasses, they actually had like a blaster shield or something that was like a tinted screen in front of their eyes. That would make a little more sense, but yeah.
Yeah. There you go. It's Shredder and the Foot Clan. Yeah.
I think Shredder had a concept of honor.
No. No, not if you go by the original cartoon.
He didn't have so much a concept of honor as
The
much
original
as
cartoon, he was a comic relief character. That's
Yeah.
totally
Yes, he
different.
was.
He was a doofus.
So were these guys, though. So was this entire episode.
Anyways, we keep going on a tangent about these guys.
Okay, so Bill, you're
All
just
right.
like,
So we already took the Americans are goofy. We took the evil for the sake of being an asshole. So I'm going to go with a relatively small one, but something that stood out to me. You have this entire plot about people from the future, or it's kicked off by the fact that people from the future like to go on these trips to the past as tourists. Other than the characters who are pretending to be tourists, none of the tourists, I don't think, even has a line, or if they do have a line, they don't have a meaningful one. Like, they don't use their setting and their situation in any way whatsoever.
They don't really do much, no.
And I'm immediately contrasting that with not necessarily the best example of this, but a very obvious and visible example, Voyage of the Damned, where they completely use that setting, even if it's entirely like off the walls RTD when there's nobody reining him in. But
at least
they
like a
use
handful
it.
of people became at least a few lines.
Yeah. They use it. The comedy develops from the setting. The characterization develops from the setting. Here, it's like they kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, they're just kind of there to get the plot started, and then
this is
really
also
do
this
much
is
else.
also the first season they had where they went from 4 episodes to 3.
And yeah.
So I'm thinking also the fact that they're still trying to figure out how to write shorter scripts. So unfortunately, that means for this first season, things like character development got tossed out the window.
And I'm pretty sure every 3 episode story that we've reviewed. Well, actually, I wasn't here for the Battlefield review, so I don't know how that one went. But
That was 4.
That one went
that
really
was
well.
4. I thought it was 3.
No, that was a
Okay.
4 actually. Yeah.
But all the 3s that we've reviewed that I can think of, we've made similar comments. So.
Well, that's kind of the problem about writing on that tight schedule. And I mean, if you think about Modern Who, that's a 2.
Hmm.
It's a 40.
1.5.
No, it's about a 2.
Because a modern episode's 40 minutes, a classic episode's 20 minutes.
Actually, a modern one's about 45.
Right. Compared to 24, but like 2 minutes of that are repeating the cliffhanger.
So it comes out to be about the same.
Yeah.
So, that means that they've done a lot better with tighter writing in the modern series, because they're doing these 1-episode, 42-minute episodes as opposed to these old, 105 minutes or whatever, 110, 15, whatever, episodes that they couldn't get everything. And we do say occasionally with a Modern Who episode, this could have been, this could have been expanded out a bit, but usually they do pretty good. Here we're seeing.
And I think
that
we
they're
mainly said that in Series 7.
mostly, yeah.
No, yeah,
The
some of them didn't even deserve 1 episode, but
Yeah, well, Journey, yeah. Journey should be written off the face of the earth. It's burned. But still, these writers are used to writing 4 and 6 part episodes like they had been doing for years, and suddenly they have to do 4 and 3. Well, the 4s are usually pretty good, but yeah, that's where he's suffer from lack of development just because they have to keep hitting plot lines. Which, if they had removed this whole American spies looking for the satellite subplot,
They could have added some of that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You'd pretty much save like an entire episode worth of time.
Yeah.
Yep, excuse me. My phone's
Alarm.
telling me I have to pick up Aaron, and I don't have to.
Yeah.
Anyway. So that's what you disliked, Matt.
Oh, God damn it. I actually had it in mind by this point. I've completely forgotten what I had in mind now. Trying to think of something really quick. Something overall I didn't like. Oh, I actually have something. A majority of the music in this was not rock and roll. It was doo-wop. Thank you.
Yeah, but that was part of the era. But
yes, but everyone kept swearing up and down rock and roll, rock and roll, rock and roll. No.
Every time I listen to rock and roll from before like a certain point of the 70s, I can't even identify it as rock and roll. So
I can.
was uncertain about that.
I can. A majority of this was doo-wop. There's a few bits of rock and roll in here, but not the majority.
Yeah. Like
got your wrong music there.
People describe the Beatles as rock and roll. Is that factually correct?
Yes,
it is.
Yes, that actually is correct. The Beatles is definitely rock and roll.
And that, from my experience of rock, does not even compute. Like, I don't even see the connection.
Yeah, this is like Elvis sort of rock era rock.
Elvis did rock too, but Elvis also did do some doo-wop, and this was mostly like Elvis doo-wop.
Elvis was kind of the birth of rock and roll. He kind of transitioned into rock and roll, and kind of set the standard that people kept tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. The Beatles came out with their sound in the 60s, and if you think about the contemporaries of the Beatles, many of which are still today, the Rolling Stones were contemporaries of the Beatles.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin.
It also really depends on which songs from the Beatles you're looking at too. Because there was definitely a time in like the late 60s or 70s where they got super experimental.
Yeah, they went from rock and roll to rockadelic.
Like basically anything before the album Rubber Soul was like pure rock and roll, I think.
And then even after that, they'd have the occasional rock and roll song followed by "What the hell."
Yeah,
Revolution number 9 is a "What the hell" to me.
They've
it's-
always had a few weird numbers that were
But
kind of
it's a
outliers,
lot
but the
lighter
majority of
rock.
it still was rock.
It's a lot lighter rock than what you probably consider rock, Bill, and what you consider rock is what generally is considered metal.
Yeah, you're looking for metal when you should be looking for rock.
Yeah.
I've also like seen the discussions where certain parts of rock and metal are virtually indistinguishable, like at the intersection between them.
Dio.
But I don't know. Like the rock as I know it is Queen and AC/DC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's rock.
I know nothing about rock other than that.
And
That-
AC/DC is also another weird one that kind of sells between rock and metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they've always considered themselves a rock and roll band.
And they majority are. Yeah.
You've always said that.
Metal.
I mean, I'm not saying they're heavy metal, but they're
No.
metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sort of like how Black Sabbath are considered metal, but if you look at a lot of their early stuff, it just seems very rock-ish.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Well, Black Sabbath also ties into Dio a lot there too, because he was part of the band for a little bit.
No, not early Sabbath.
We're going off on a lot of.
Anyways, yeah, we're tangenty as hell. We need a reverse hoe.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
anyways,
so
they got the
what
wrong
I
style
disliked
music.
About the serial, I brought up the satellite, which annoyed me. I guess the overall, and this is my problem with season 24 in general, the overall silliness. I mean,
Army men,
yes,
intentional or not, army
it was.
men.
Yes, the fact that they had those guys in green with helmets. I mean, I'm like, was they planning the live action version of the movie Army Men?
I hope our bump was something from like Toy Story or like something.
No, I did a
With
thing for
army men
Rutger
in
Hauer,
it.
by the way. Rutger Hauer, rest in peace.
Ah.
But yeah, I saw that, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's just they look like plastic army men, and I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but it's definitely there, and it was the most stupidest thing they did.
Yeah. I mean, given the baby starts off with like the masky sort of thing, puppet, whatever, and then turns into a real baby with green skin, but the men all had like they were all clearly wearing a mask that because the lips never moved. It's like, okay, it probably was at least partially had to be intentional.
For me, I was looking at that going, oh god.
Wait, does that mean Ricky is gonna end up looking like that?
Let's not talk about that's
Ricky.
yeah. That whole plot just creeped me the hell out.
I took
Actually,
a whole
yeah,
bunch of these chemicals, and now I'm the same alien species as you. Hi.
Yeah. Yeah, that just doesn't.
It makes about as much sense as getting squirted by alien jet fuel and turning into a bug.
Although, to be fair, at least the doctor says it doesn't make a damn lick of sense.
Yes, he does.
Mm.
He's like,
And even
I've
like-
never heard of anything like this working before.
Yeah, like even Delta herself is like, what the fuck are you doing? For all you know, that could kill you.
It's like, I've got to try
And
more.
you know, the sheer stupidity of it. Yes, I'm going to suck down some alien goo so I can go with this woman that I have the hots for. Who
Which
turned
I
out
admit, I didn't even realize that that's the direction it was going at first when he stole it. I'm like, oh god, is he going to try blackmailing her with it or something?
I'm like, yeah, I'm just like, oh god, that is no. That just squicks me for whatever reason. All right, you know, I mean, I could see them flying off into space. 3 minutes later, he explodes into some Cronenberg monstrosity.
She's just like, well, there goes my idea for repopulating.
There goes my species. Yeah. All right, favorite scene, Thomas.
This one was actually a quite easy pick, and it is the Mel, like the bus explodes and Mel is like pinned down by the main villain, and he's just like, was the queen on that bus? And without even really much hesitation, she automatically like, yeah, she was on there, she's dead, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, it's kind of ruined by the fact that
The doctor
they
shows
all
up
drive
show
by,
up.
yeah.
seconds later.
Yeah, they all show up like pretty much immediately. But the quick thinking of Mel to just be like, yeah, she was on there.
Yeah.
You can piss off now.
Mhm.
Was just like, you know, for all the crap that Mel gets, it was like kind of nice to have her see her get this moment of being smart enough to not even really hesitate and go, oh yeah, it was just like very confidently like, why the fuck would I lie? You've got a gun pointed at my face.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very confident lying.
All right, Tim, how about your favorite scene?
Okay, this is a very brief scene. It's the scene where the little boy gives the doctor an apple.
Okay.
I I just thought it was charming and amusing for some reason. It's like, who is this boy? Why is he giving the doctor an apple? It's like, there seems to be some deeper purpose that we'll never get into, but it's fun to speculate.
All right, Bill.
I think I'm going to go with the doctor's confrontation with, what was his name? Haverock?
Gavrock.
Gavrock. The whole thing where he's the one where it's basically he's more or less saying, I'll call down the Shadow Proclamation on you, except I'm pretty sure he's bluffing the entire time, and it's still just like, it's such a doctor thing to do. And it just goes pretty much entirely according to plan.
Mm-hmm.
The only way it could be more a doctor thing to do is if instead of being confrontational, he bumbled his way through and just, happened to walk off with them and leave everyone scratching their heads at the end.
Yeah. Or if he wanted the new Who version, he would have just, come up and just, I'm the doctor. You don't want to mess with me,
Right. Which almost would have worked here because the bounty hunter or mercenary or whatever the hell he was knew who the doctor was and was about to try and collect his bounty.
All right, Matt, your favorite scene.
Favorite scene from this episode? Oh gosh. I think the last one was kind of my favorite scene, was the whole walking up and being the "Don't mess with me, doctor," while not exactly saying it in the same lines as we're used to at this point in newer Who. Trying to think of anything else that might have been really good. Gosh. I guess the other one would be just the doctor's quiet setup for leaning on the Bannermen before they leave to go head back to the campsite. And then you just watch as all this stuff unfolds after they're already long gone with the beacon tied around a goat's neck and then leaving the sash underneath the door so they run into a trap full of honey and then they get stung up by bees. Just everything he could possibly throw at them to piss them off and slow them down before they could set up their trap.
All right. So my favorite scene is the doctor trying to convince the camp director that they're about to be attacked by aliens.
Takes them to the darkness.
Well, even before that, his immediate response to, his pure sarcasm. And I'm like, yeah, that's about right. Part of me was wondering why he didn't pull out a stethoscope and say, here, heartbeats, 2 of them, I'm an alien. But, still at the same time, the camp director responded exactly like you'd expect somebody to respond when you're doing a holiday camp.
And you're trying to keep people peaceful and you think someone's just walked at you and proven that they're loony.
Yeah.
And I think he's also, like, outside of, like, one instance, the Americans doing it, like, and end up getting zapped by that field around the TARDIS. Like, that's, like, the only instance you get, rather than literally everyone in this setting being like, oh, come on, that's bullshit.
All right, so least favorite scene, Thomas.
This was actually kind of another easy one, but only like the more I thought about it on the rewatch was like, hang on. And that's when they fall for the trick of the like scarf or whatever it is being under the door.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, okay, you already fell for this once with like the ribbon around the sheep or the lamb or the goat or whatever
The
it
goat.
was.
It was a goat.
Yeah, like you already fell for this once. You would think the villain would look at it and go, hang on, they've done this before. We should probably like be careful and check that they haven't done stuff. So like them just being like, nah, this looks fine, and then just walking straight into it is like, okay.
All right, Tim.
Okay, my least favorite scene is the scene where the Gavrok and the Bannermen are interrogating the guy. I forget
the
his name.
teleportation pad.
Yeah, the teleportation pad, saying, "Where did you go?" Like, I don't know. They were going to Disneyland, and but they got knocked out by a satellite. I don't know. Like, okay, you can go, run. It's kind of formulaic, but presented in a way that makes it even worse than it would be if it was just simply formulaic. Like, so it was cliche, but then they did me the insult of performing it badly. The whole, all right, you're free to go.
Face fire.
You mentioning that all actually just makes me think about the fact that the taking hostage and interrogation of the Americans goes absolutely nowhere, and it's just a huge waste of not only the
Yeah.
audience's time but the Bannerman's time too.
Yeah,
They didn't even torture them properly; they just stood there.
Torture.
Yeah.
they didn't kill them either, which
mean,
would have been their
yeah.
usual response.
It's
Yeah.
like they sat,
Mm.
they tortured them with the comfy chair, and then they played bondage games.
No, you
I
give the
didn't need
color.
that mental image,
That-
Bill. I honestly didn't need that mental.
That insidious torture device, comfy chair.
The comfy chair.
And now the dish rack and the comfy pillow. Confess, confess.
All right. Was that your least favorite scene, Bill?
So no, I am going to go with. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with after the whole promise of I'm so discreet, I can be trusted, and whatever happens, I'm a discreet person, and then Delta has a baby, hatches a baby from an egg, whatever. So Mel has to scream in the top of her lungs so that everybody in Wales hears.
Albeit that did look like some aliens bullshit coming out of that thing. But yeah. The over response Mel scream. All right. Matt.
My least favorite scene has to be finally we got everybody on the bus. We finally got the bus fixed. They're finally about to take off, and immediately explodes, and everyone's disintegrated.
I actually thought that it had successfully time
No,
traveled.
everyone is dead, Dave.
Until Mel said they were dead.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, they escaped in the nick of time.
Nope, they died.
Mel
Mel's
died.
dead.
But they're all
Mel's word is
needlessly dead.
law.
We just added to the kill count for no particular reason other than instant disintegration.
Mhm.
Enjoy.
And only one of them had any lines.
So, my least favorite scene. Give me a moment because I had it and I just lost it. Is the scene at the very end where the doctor's just like, oh yeah, the energy they released just completely knocked out the barrier around the TARDIS. It's like, why the fuck did you set this up in the first place? It added nothing to the plot.
Other than that people couldn't just run away in the TARDIS.
Yeah, well, you
Yeah,
could've made
it
you
kept it
could've
out
just
to
That's
made it
safe
basically
against
that
that's the
Bannermen
only
were
reason,
between
and
them
it's
and
a
the
bad
TARDIS.
reason.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's badly written.
Although I actually, for that matter, I really thought they were going to do something with the fact that the people were using police boxes and the Doctor had the TARDIS. And what if the Doctor was trying to get to the TARDIS, but actually end up inside a regular police box and the TARDIS was somewhere else and he didn't know where? But they did not do that.
No. All right. So, final thoughts, Thomas.
I'll just say this much. Having been so pissed off at the fact that I was waiting for this fucking DVD player to show up, and then it finally did, and I'm just like, my god, if this is as bad as like some people might say it is, then this is gonna be like, wow, I bothered to do that just so I could watch this crap. Thankfully, while I will not necessarily say this is like good, or like at least not, it's never gonna be like considered by me at least like top tier Doctor Who by any goddamn stretch.
Oh no, this is not top shelf.
Yeah. This was one where I was like, you know what? This is enjoyable enough that it calmed me down instead of being like, oh my god, I went through all that just to watch this crap.
Went through all that just to give myself even more pain. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
Now, imagine if you had, gone through all this to watch the Gunfighters.
I probably would have like thrown something around the room.
You would officially have to label yourself a masochist.
Yeah. Yeah, like I wouldn't necessarily even recommend anyone watch this necessarily. I mean, if you're like a completionist and you want to say you've watched all of the surviving Doctor Who, go ahead. I mean, it's honestly a very brisk watch. I mean, for as much as that's kind of annoying because it gives way to lack of character development and stuff, at the very least, I didn't feel like I was wasting my time because this went by so quickly. Which is more than I can say for some of the things we've watched recently, where they either feel like they drag or it's just like, oh, when will this end? And this was like, oh, it's over already? Okay.
Wait till we
one
get to the ugly.
my one big gripe is just the fact that nothing ever came of Rey, because it's like, there's not a hell of a lot there, but there's potential. And the fact that she's never been in anything Big Finish, as far as I can tell, or anything like that, is kind of disappointing, because I feel like the character could have had, like, something could have been done there. It's almost to the point that it would have actually been interesting to see, like, her continue on what would have happened if they'd kept her, but also kept Ace, and had those two, like, together, and how that dynamic would have worked. Could have been interesting. But yeah, like, I I would say this is at least like average when it comes to Doctor Who stuff. Like, I could see why people would hate this, but yeah, it's not bad enough considering some of the stuff we have watched. I wouldn't say it's bad enough to say that I hate it.
Yeah. Oddly, it's interesting that Big Finish never has gone out to her. She's still active. She's done like been on Casualty for the last like 2009 to 2013.
She'd be perfect for like a Torchwood spin-off, like a
maybe.
Torchwood episode.
It'd be interesting.
I mean, between her mechanical stuff and Ace's explosive stuff, that'd be kind of funny to see.
Or she winds up working in like the unit motor pool or something. It'd be interesting. Anyway, is that all you had to say, Thomas?
Yeah.
Tim, your final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I think the main problem with this episode is not that it was rushed, but that it seemed to just straight up skip and gloss over important aspects of the storyline, like establishing who these people were, and it seemed to place an awful lot of faith in the intelligence of its viewers. And I'm saying that that's a good thing, that it believed that the audience was hip and savvy enough to like sort of fill in the blanks. But there's only so far you can go with that. But I did like the visuals and the costumes, and at least the Bannermen had banners, so
There's some
that's
logic.
cool. Yeah, logic for them. And the baby was a cute baby.
Eventually.
Yeah,
Came out as a prune.
eventually. Yeah, But other than that, I think this episode was mildly amusing, but just not particularly well written.
All right. Although, Matt, you know what another opening could have been?
Hmm.
The hatching of the baby to Weird Al's song Slime Creatures from Outer Space.
That could have worked.
All right, Bill, your final thoughts?
All right. So you know something that I never got the chance to mention? Her name is Delta, but she doesn't have a triangle theme at all, and that pisses me off.
Neither does Delta Burke.
I mean, as I said in text, this was apparently a reference to a band called Echo and the Bunnymen, so maybe it's more like the
Phonetic alphabet.
Yeah.
On a more serious note, yeah, this episode put its weight where it didn't need to be. I don't know, maybe that was executive meddling. I could certainly see JNT saying, yeah, give half the script to the comedians and fuck characterization. But yeah, this is a mess, and I'm pretty sure it's the fourth time I've watched it. And as of yesterday, I could not remember a single detail of the plot. Other than that, it involved rock and roll and a bus. So
Yeah, that's pretty much what I
Bill.
remember too.
tomorrow I might remember this episode. Who knows? I'll probably remember the army men. I can't believe
Bill, I wish my memory. There's days where I believe my memory to be a complete and total sieve. I wish mine was as big as sieve as yours is for this kind of stuff. God fucking damn it!
maybe I repress
You
it.
need to have
I don't
somebody
know.
come over and obliviate your memories, Matt.
I want to be whack-a-mole dry here. 3 lumps.
But yeah, I really like the idea of this alien that looks human but has such completely different biology, and yet they also completely fucked that up with, yeah, I'm going to turn myself into an alien by taking your magic alien food that only the queen gets to eat. So
I'm going to suck down your royal jelly to turn myself into an alien bee.
Oh
Yeah.
my!
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never
I don't
mind.
know if you all caught the analogy between.
Yeah. There was a lot of bee analogies.
You couldn't have missed that analogy. They tried to whack it over your head like I have a 2x4.
I'm pretty sure they whacked us
Yeah,
over
but
the
we
head with it
hadn't
with a
brought it up,
beehive.
and we're at final thoughts, so
Yeah.
I had to bring it up.
Yeah, they mentioned that analogy a lot. And never mind the fact that whole thing was basically, yeah, he stole what her child needed because he thought it was in her best interests for him to be with her.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to dig into that because there's too much to unpack in 2 hours.
Yep.
The whole relationship was really freaking weird and fast-paced.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That said, the pseudo companion was great. Maybe Big Finish will listen to our podcast one day and be like, "Yeah, we should give her a phone call." But that's about the end of what I have to say.
All right, Matt.
Overall, yeah, my feeling on this is very mediocre. I don't hate this necessarily. There's some interesting ideas here and there, but I think the major problem with this one isn't so much the presentation as it is the writing. There's some stuff that could have been completely removed, some stuff that could have been added to help it out. The villains are at least decent for being villains, but they're also a bit one note. We don't really get to meet many of our characters, and most of them just stay in the background except for the necessary ones. And we get these pointless comedians who basically are wasted. That's just the long and the short of it on them.
You realize how many comedians were in this?
Way too many.
Had the 2 Americans.
Mm-hmm.
You had the bus driver was a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that was selling at the docking port.
The teleportation pad. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah.
Does Sylvester count?
And Sylvester
himself
technically
has a deserved comedy, but he's also the main character. So
Yeah.
Still, we got 5 comedians on this set.
Mm.
I suspect what happened is, hey, Syl, why don't you invite your friends over for an episode?
Someone's gonna eat their hat. But yeah, the writing for this one was obviously very sloppy and mixed up, and it kind of shows. So yeah, it's a skippable episode. It's a very forgettable one, and there's nothing horribly bad, but there's nothing outrageously good about it either. There's just good moments. There's some really hotly bad moments, and then it just kind of mixes up as mediocre.
All right, you done?
Yep.
All right. So, taking the legs of what makes a good episode, this episode was hastily written, and thus is missing a lot of things that make a good episode, like character development, and drawing you into the story. The acting for what we have is decent,
Mm-hmm.
except for the comedians who mostly seem to overact. But I think that's what they were shooting for because they were looking for camp. That 4-letter word to me. Special effects were pretty much 80s par, so nothing special, nothing horrible. Costumes. Some of the costumes were pretty good.
There's
The
a
period
few...
costumes were pretty good.
The period ones were good. The teleportation pad guy was at least nice and sparkly and flashy like he's supposed to be.
Well, I'm sure if there's anything the BBC can easily.
And Bill's turning into an on-again, off-again robot. But I think he was trying to go to the period costumes.
I was saying if there's anything the BBC can afford and probably has in their wardrobe, it's 50s costumes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this was only the 80s, so that's only like 30 years old costume.
So yeah, they probably had some in the back wardrobe somewhere. Just went, pull these out. These will work.
Delta's costumes were okay. Her subordinates' costumes were terrible.
Army men.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted them to get killed by a giant magnifying glass.
Were partial rehashes, but what they added to it were horrible.
What they added to it was either just flashy and unnecessary, or the horrible.
And then finally the sets. Well, the location shooting was good. The set designs that they did for like the docking port, I think, were a little too grim for what they were aiming for.
Grim and or questionable.
Mm-hmm. And so between all of it, you really only have the location and the period sets to bring this stuff up. If it wasn't for those, this would be a bottom dweller.
Mm-hmm.
But it's enough that it's probably just below par, in my opinion. All right. Speaking of that, it's time for ratings. Thomas, you give us the first rating of the night.
I'm willing to be forgiving enough to not rank this as low as I figure like some people might, but yeah, I'm at least willing to. I enjoyed it enough to at least give it a 3.
3. All right. That's the first one. All right. Next up with our vote is Tim.
This was charming and amusing, but still not a good episode, but I can't hate on it, so I'm going to give this a 3.5.
Above average. Huh. All right. Bill.
So I just scrolled through everything. I've given a 2 or a 2.52 to figure out which one I feel more similar to.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a hard decision, but I think it comes down to a 2.2. And you know what that means? 2.0.
2.0.
Oof.
Matt.
I am hotly mediocre about this one. I almost want to rate it lower, but it's not low enough for me to give it a 2.5, so I'm stuck at a 3.
All right. And I am going to give it a 2.5 because I felt like it was just under par. It was not good enough to get a 3, but not low enough to be a 2. So between all of us, giving almost a different rating for each, except for Matt and Thomas giving an identical, it comes out to an average of 2.8.
Below average.
Which will put it at number 271 out of 303 things reviewed. It is on par with The Tribe of Gum minus An Unearthly Child. Ouch.
Oof.
The TV movie,
Hmm.
Hyde, Angels Take Manhattan,
Oof.
Revenge of the Cybermen, Voyage of the Damned,
Ow.
and The Crimson Horror.
Ugh.
It is better than Mind Warp and Victory of the Daleks. And it is not as good as Time of the Doctor, Vampires in Venice, or Aliens of London World War III.
Also, the Horns of Nymon,
Yes.
what I can tell, which ended up being the highest ranked thing bad
So far, yeah.
So
Yeah.
far.
by like 0.1.
I don't know
Yeah, there's some redeeming factors still in Naimon. Like, I think the plot is better, but yeah.
if we have any massive ELO fans, we'll probably have a higher one, but
Matt.
ELO doesn't save everything, but it will help.
No. I was just marking you as being a massive ELO fan.
Xanadu.
so I guess that'll be tested next week.
Xanadu.
Yes, it will. Anyway, like I said, 271 out of 303. That is all we have to say about Delta and the Bannermen.
All right. So what do you guys at home have to say about it? Comment below on YouTube or on Twitch. If you agree with one of our ratings or if you think it should be a 1 or a 4, let us know. And don't forget to follow and subscribe.
All right, so that finishes up the classic Who Bad. Now it's time for our 2 new Who Bads, both from the same season. In fact, they are consecutive episodes. We're starting with Series 2, Love and Monsters, written by Russell T. Davies and starring David Tennant as the Doctor and Billy Piper as Rose Tyler. Considered to be one of the worst episodes of New Who.
Are you sure it's starring and not just guest appearing?
Fair.
All right, so we'll see you next week.
Good
you then.
night.
Good night.
And I need to run to the bathroom, so I will say adieu.
Yeah, and I need to get some sleep because I need to get up at 7